Hi everybody, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. I'm sitting here atop the Eoria rehearsal studio on 71st and 72nd and Broadway on this bright December day, and coming to the end of December, that is. Anyway, we've had Christmas already, the year 2020, and the primary reason for saying hello today is that I'm going to share with you the fact that we put out a nice calendar for the 2021 year. Hopefully it's a better year than last year with all this COVID and shutdown, illness problems, and political unrest in this country. We hope 2021 will be better. Anyway, so I'll be showing you examples of that calendar as I work on some new music that I've been working on lately. Questions? Fire away. The New Year's calendar theme primarily is humanity. It looks like a lot of people, lots of faces. They came out a little bit like German impressionist type faces. A lot of them are a little bit angular, a little bit darker, a little colder, and something brooding. They're not exactly the most cheerful faces per se, but something interesting. And my art has changed even in the last few months, so the new artwork you'll see will be even perhaps a little more cheerful and developing a little differently. I'll be using more oils, larger canvases. But the calendar is still rather eclectic. There's some scenes around New York City, and Bryant Park I like very much. I spend a lot of time at Bryant Park. Because of the COVID, I ride my bicycle down there and spend some time. I've done a few pictures of Bryant Park and some people. So there's a few New York City escapes. There's one picture of some Jewish Orthodox dancers, and then I use the same, almost exact same bodies, and I have like a farm family dancing out near the barn, much in the same poses, same spirit. So it's just kind of interesting, the different ethnic groups that are dancing and posing in the same way, with different clothes on their back, different priorities in their life, perhaps. But it should be fun. It should be a nice calendar. I hope you'll take a look at the various pictures that we'll be showing you on the screen. and maybe you'll like to purchase a copy of the calendar, which keeps more artistic events happening throughout the year with the music and the art. Also, obviously has to be subsidized somehow, and we're receiving no subsidies, so every little bit helps pay the rent and keep the art flowing and the music happening. I wrote a new melody fairly recently, which goes like this. It's a little bit melancholy, perhaps, a little bit sad, but these are primarily sad times. Any other questions? There is a musical theme in the calendar. There are many pictures with violins, cellos, or pianos. Certain composers are sometimes portrayed in my artwork. Some of the works are completely from my imagination, and there's nothing to do with music whatsoever. But generally, being a musician, a lot of my artwork has a lot of influence of musical people, composition, that kind of thing. Well, last year's calendar was smaller, about like this. And this year we opened up the full page, 8.5 by 11. And so when it opens up, it's 17 by 11. So each page is 8.5 by 11, and it opens up to 17, whatever. It's when you open it, it's larger. But some of the pictures are this large. So it's sort of an artistic calendar. Hang on 1 second, let's see who this is. Don't turn the camera off yet. Hi, Lois. Yes.
How are you?
Pretty good. How are you doing? I'm glad you like it. Do you have a favorite picture in the calendar by any means or not? Or just you like the general spirit of it? Or did you have a picture or two that you like the most? Yeah, tell me some that you like.
I like the one in March.
March, you like? What is that picture of?
It looks like a little Jewish man in front of a shop.
Uh-huh.
And there's one of the lights in July.
What? July, are those people at the beach or something?
No, not at the beach. They're sitting indoors somewhere. There are 1, 2, 3, 4 violinists.
Oh, is it a string quartet? Is there a green wallpaper in the background? Yeah, that's a string quartet. Cello, viola, and 2 violins, yeah. You like that one?
Yeah, I do.
Oh, that's a good one, yeah, that's kind of nice, yeah. I'm working on how to learn how to draw hands and arms and the instruments and the right perspectives. You know, that's a little more complicated one that took me a long time to figure out and do, hopefully a little better, you know. You like December? You like the deer, the reindeer and all that? Yeah, that's a funny one. That's the most childish, I think. It's a very silly one, kind of goofy.
Yeah, but it's cute.
It is cute. I'm glad you like that. That one sort of is unique from the rest of the energy in the calendar. It's not really a great work of art. It's kind of, the perspective's a little bit off. It's a little bit funny, but I like that one too.
It's a little bit funny, and it's a cute thing for kids because it's a family workshop.
That's right.
Kids would enjoy that one.
Like you and me. That's my 90-year-old girlfriend. All right, more questions, please. My favorite piece of artwork in the calendar. Well, I think the string quartet is sort of the most impressive in some regard as a piece of artwork. It's a nice, mostly older gentlemen playing quartets. And I always explain that classical musicians make funny faces when they play music. Many times they're involved in the music, so they look very serious or like they're uncomfortable or something. And people should understand they're still enjoying the music very much that they're creating, but they're just concentrating or getting very much involved in the drama, passion of the music. So don't feel that they're not having fun. They enjoy that kind of thing and they make faces. So I think the faces on those gentlemen look a little funny. They look like they're very serious or angry or something, but I think it's just the passion of the music. I like the cover. I like the accordion player. He's a friend of mine from Russia who plays the accordion on the street. And he was on 72nd and Broadway that day, so I ended up doing a picture of him. I'm pretty proud of it. I like the pictures of Bryant Park because they remind me of many hours resting in enjoying, relaxing in the sunshine the previous summer this year. So I like Bryant Park very much. It's kind of a sanctuary. It kept me feeling good. I ride my bicycle over there and spend some time. And now they have ice skating rinks over there. There's people are skating around this December. It's kind of pretty over there also. So the cover I like Bryant Park. I like the string quartet. I like the man in the rowboat. I'm not sure whether it's sunrise or sunset, but it's a little bit symbolic of a man getting older in life, and he's out alone rowing his little boat across a vast ocean. So I think that's kind of a symbolic picture I kind of like having in this calendar. There's a nice beach scene. My friend pointed out that it looks like one of the ladies is missing the bottom part of her bathing suit. It looks kind of, in fact, like she's not wearing a colorful undergarment or bathing suit. The lower section of her body seems to be exposed, but that was not done on purpose. But she thought that was an X-rated picture, and I kept saying, why is that X-rated? She said, well, she's naked. Whatever, so that was that. But I still like that picture, too. It's very warm colors. Any other questions? Yes, it did. Like in music, when I learned some very, very difficult piece of music, it makes some of the easier music accessible and easier. So by working on the rather intensely on the children's book, the Spaceman. He came down to planet Earth to remind the kids and parents to wash their hands. It was a focused project. Everything was, the pictures were all made. A lot of them were made specifically to show the travels of the Spaceman character. And so I drew pictures of Russia and France and Italy and South America and Africa, and showed places where the super spaceman would come in. He'd be superimposed into the pictures, and so it was a lot of work. We had certain date lines we wanted to meet to get this thing out and rolling, and it was a very good result. I think we created a very nice book about the spaceman who came down, and theoretically the book can be translated into those countries, into Spanish and Chinese and Korea and French and Russian, but so far I haven't done that yet, and I don't have a publisher for it, but in the meantime we have a bunch of copies and we send them out occasionally and give them away and sell a few. But the Spaceman book was quite an intense project, and I'm very happy. It's my first little children's book. It's written primarily so adults can read the book to children. There's a little bit of humor in there about Buckingham Palace changing the guard so they can go change their socks, and little jokes like that. Wondering about if the people in Italy knew that the Leaning Tower of Pisa is leaning, if they actually know that. And of course they do, but the spaceman is wondering out loud about these things he's noticing on the planet Earth, and it's kind of a fun book, and I'm proud of it. I think the pictures are, again, a little bit sophisticated for a children's book, but I think children like those kind of semi-abstract pieces of artwork. I think children have a very big imagination, and I remember as a little kid myself, there were paintings hanging above my crib, and I would stare at them for hours a day, and it really made a big impression on my interest in art in the future. I enjoyed recreating some of those colors and scenes. I can still remember exactly which paintings they were. And when I come across them in a book or in a museum, I'm always amazed, that's what the painting was that was hanging above my crib that I stared at for hours. So I think this children's book is going to be something that a lot of children will like to hold on to for a number of years. I enjoyed that book called Madeline, about that French artist who had these little schoolgirls in a convent dressed in yellow walking around Paris, and I still remember those pictures very vividly. And I think my book will have that same effect on a lot of young people. Well, this year another development developed, and that was my artwork began to sell, primarily through a gentleman who is becoming my agent. I've never had an agent before, and he's in Ohio, and they sold 4 or 5 of my pieces for a good chunk of money, and I'm very excited about that happening more so. Once this COVID crisis is over, we're going to have a gallery exhibition in New York City, hopefully by spring or in the springtime, when people can get together and enjoy a gathering for music and for art. So that was a very big development. After many years, rather prolifically drawing all kinds of sketches and pictures and paintings, not considering myself a professional artist per se, it has developed into, in a sense, a professional quality or level of creations that people are enjoying very much, kind of catching on. And I think that's a very nice development. It puts me under a little pressure. I'm a little more self-conscious about doing some of the artwork, but so far it's not been a big problem. I still enjoy spending time just making some noodles and doodles, as I call them. And it does distract me in a very nice way. I really enjoy that. In fact, I would advise people who are having trouble being locked in their house too much, in quarantine, etc., to get some paper and pencils out and draw some pictures and add color, etc. I think it's going to be a very healing kind of objective. The artwork in the calendar is for sale. I believe every piece is for sale in the calendar. And I've sent a few of those pictures, only a few, to Ohio, where my first and only agent exists and resides, and he'll sell them, I think. But there are many available still. If one in particular strikes your fancy, I'd be happy to get it to you so you could buy it. I think on this presentation, or at my websites, for instance, Gregory Singer Art.com, GregorySingerArt.com, there should be a way of requesting certain specific art. I'll speak to my agent and see if I have permission to use his name and number as a contact. I can do that also, because in the end, he'll have to be okaying some of those transactions. I don't work behind his back, but if it's appropriate, certainly one way or the other we'll get the artwork to you, and that will be, I think that will be very nice. Certainly would encourage me, and I'll do even more and more so. And I can do some things upon request. I don't have a great technique. I never studied art, but naturally, if you ask me to do something in particular, something thematic, I will try my best to do something that pleases you. For a pretty penny, that is. For a pretty penny, that is. I think the 2021 calendar is going to be a very important transitional calendar, because it's a little bit eclectic. There's no just one theme to it, although it's a little bit to do. I think there's one or two pictures with people wearing masks only, because I didn't want it to be depressing or to remind us so much of these difficult times. There's a little bit of music, some musicians in the artwork, but it's a little bit transitional. I think I'm finding my own style. I've been working lately at home with some oils and acrylics, and I think there's a new style developing which should be quite strong. And so I would say, since the 2021 calendar is still very eclectic, and some things are noticeably better finished pieces of art, some are a little bit less complete, I would say it's kind of a transitional example, but I think my standards are getting higher. I'm completing the works a little more so it looks like a work of art.